Schopenhauer said that all truth goes through 3 stages. First, it's ridiculed. Second, it's violently opposed. Third, it's accepted as having always been self-evident. So I know there's a lot of people out there that are in those first 2 stages of ridiculing it or violently opposing it. And hopefully this video will help move folks to the next stage of saying, oh, okay, makes sense, and whether you like it or not, you can use it for yourself or choose not to, but see that it can make a difference for a lot of other people. So, the history of tapping. Still some confusion out there, and so this is the history as I learned it from Gary Craig, the founder of EFT. Around 1980, a psychologist named Roger Callahan was working with a woman who we call Mary, who had a lifelong fear of water, an intense phobia. She had nightmares, all kinds of issues. She could only bathe in an inch of water. Just all her life had been traumatized by water. And she had seen different therapists, and even working with Dr. Callahan for some time, the best he could do was have her sitting near the swimming pool, looking away from it, and even that was very difficult for her. And he'd been using conventional therapy methods. And around this time, he was learning about some new things, learning about acupuncture and acupressure and Chinese medicine that for thousands of years had said that there's this flow of energy through the body, and we experience physical discomfort when that energy is out of whack. So Mary had said that one of the symptoms of her water fear was a knot in her stomach. So Dr. Callahan had learned that one of the endpoints for the stomach meridian was right under the eye. And he thought, well, let's see if we can do something about that. And tapped under her eye. And she said, it's gone. And he said, what's gone? Thinking, maybe it relieved some of the stomach pressure. She said, the fear is gone. And starts running towards the swimming pool. And he starts running after her, saying, wait. And because he knew she didn't know how to swim. She said, it's okay, I know I don't know how to swim. She didn't jump in, but she started splashing water in her face. No upsetting feelings. Nightmares never came back. And naturally, Dr. Callahan said, wow, isn't that interesting? So he started trying this with different clients and found that with different issues, he needed to tap different points in different sequences. And within a short amount of time, he had put himself out of business because all of his clients who were coming to him on a regular basis were now free from their upsetting issues. So Dr. Callahan started teaching this program called Thought Field Therapy, TFT, also known as the Callahan Technique. And one of his early students in around 1991 was Gary Craig. And Gary had trained as an engineer at Stanford. That's where he had his degree from. So thinking like an engineer, he started throwing out what didn't seem to work and found that instead of doing a lot of diagnostics to figure out which points in which sequence to tap for which issue, he said, well, what if we just tap these 8 major points and just go from top to bottom rather than leaving any out? If we tap a point that wasn't necessary, it doesn't hurt anything. It only takes a few moments. So let's just go through this one protocol, and found that he was getting the same great results with clients. And so he called this new, this way of doing the work, emotional freedom technique, which is a very apt name because it's a technique that gives us emotional freedom, freedom from those uncomfortable emotions. So the discovery statement that Dr. Callahan had come up with was that negative emotions are caused by this disruption in the energy system. And so by tapping these same points that are often used in acupuncture, we clear out that imbalance in the energy system, clear out that experience of discomfort, and we return ourselves to our natural state of feeling good. Now, and we found that we've been able to use this for all kinds of issues. Gary's fond of saying, try it on everything. It's like, new issue? I don't know, let's try tapping on it. We don't know what's going to happen, but let's see if we can clear that stuff out and allow ourselves to feel good in terms of both feelings that we're experiencing in the present and also looking back at things that have happened in the past. Another of Gary's great statements is, it's never too late to have a happy childhood, because you can go back and the discomfort you might carry from your childhood is in your energy system in the present. And so by tapping on these points, we clear out that discomfort, so it's no longer held in the energy system. And you get to feel a whole lot better. And that's what we want, is to feel good. Now, more recent research has also shown that during this tapping, it clears out anxiety. And, don't take my word for it. Down in the information box, I have links to research. So, if anecdotal evidence doesn't do it for you, and you're a man of science and want to hear want the research, there are links to that down there. And there's a study done showing brain scans, showing the normalization of brain activity after stimulating acupressure points. There's also a study done more recently by Dawson Church showing that during the tapping, it's lowering the levels of cortisol. Cortisol is a stress hormone. When our brain is designed so that when we get into a threatening situation, the amygdala in the limbic system is stimulated and we go into fight or flight, and it starts pumping cortisol, this stress hormone that gets us ready to deal with whatever the threat is. Now, our brain was developed, over 100,000 years ago when we were in more life-threatening situations on a more regular basis. So, this is the sympathetic nervous system that gets us into that fight or flight. And oftentimes, most of the time, the threat that we're responding to in this physically uncomfortable way is not a real threat to us. Now, we also have the parasympathetic nervous system, where the frontal cortex then calms that down, and we start to become more rational, more open-minded. Because when we're in that stress situation, we're very close-minded. We don't, we can't be so open-minded. If we're being attacked by a saber-toothed tiger, we don't have time to consider all of the things. We need to deal with the threat that's clear and present and immediate. So, once we realize that there isn't the same threat that we had first responded to, then we start to calm down. So what this research that we now have showing that the cortisol level is being reduced is that this is manipulating our nervous system. It's speeding up that process of the frontal cortex taking over from the limbic system and allowing us to once again calm down and feel good. So what does this mean in terms of using tapping for change? Well, the human body is designed to, and the human mind is designed to like homeostasis. We like to stay the same. We like to stay in our comfort zone. So when we start to think about making changes in our lives, having more money, being healthier, having better relationships, whatever it might be, it looks good on paper, but to part of us, it's a change, and change is threatening. A threat stimulates the limbic system, cortisol goes in, and everything inside of us is saying, danger, stop, don't go there. So we find that, we make resolutions and we give them up the next day. So by doing this, we are calming that down. We're allowing ourselves to see, oh wait, there isn't a threat. And we can allow ourselves to be much more open to change. We can allow ourselves to take actions that we didn't take before, because we're allowing ourselves to see that we can handle what happens. We just allow ourselves to feel good, and in that good place, we find that we have the resources inside to make these positive changes in our lives. And, you don't have to take my word for it. You can check out the research and the links down below. But I hope that makes it easier for you to see that, even if for some reason you still choose not to tap, you can see that it is a valid process and can be very beneficial, and hopefully you'll share this information with others. Thanks for doing so.